CAConrad, welcome to the Witch Wave.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm overjoyed to have you. And just to give folks a little bit of context, so we are speaking to each other the day after the Occult Humanities Conference.
It was amazing.
Thank you. And we were so honored to have your presence there. You tore the motherfucking house down. It was a barn burner of a conversation you let us in. And because most people who are watching this or listening to this wouldn't have been there, I would love for you to talk a little bit about the content of your talk. What topic were you leading us through?
Thank you. I enjoyed doing that talk there. The audience was the best audience for this talk.
Yes.
And it's occult poetry.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing poetry in 1975, which is 50 years ago this year.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the books that I read that year was The Gift by H.G. Hilda Doolittle.
She's one of my faves.
She's great.
Yes.
Pinky shake for Hilda.
Oh, Hilda forever.
Hilda forever. And that book is of the occult through and through.
Mm-hmm.
So that was sort of like my first realization that there's something more to writing poetry. And then, of course, I'm reading Homer and all, and then you realize that for thousands of years, poets and artists of all kinds have been talking about these spirits.
Yes.
So this is accumulation of 50 years of reading. And I never really put it together like this before until a few years ago, because the poet Peter Gizzi invited me to fill in for him for a whole year at UMass Amherst in the creative writing program because he was on sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
And I was excited about it. And besides the workshop, I was also supposed to teach a seminar. And I thought, wow. And he said I could make it on whatever I wanted. I thought, well, I love thinking about the occult and poetry. So that's what it was. And I just took my years. And it was the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Because I've been reading all these books for decades.
Yes.
And I just lined them up and talked about each one and how they did it. And there are a couple of poets who the occult, they were dealing with the occult against their will.
Yes. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. The most dramatic one, I believe, is Merl Hyman.
Okay. This is a new name to me.
She's new to most people.
Okay.
She's, I only came across her because the last living Black Mountain College poet, Jonathan Williams, who was going to be, he was getting ready to publish his last book on his press, and it was going to be my book called The Book of Frank.
Yes.
And then he passed away, and he came out with Wave Books. He was such a wonderful soul. But when I would visit him in his home in North Carolina, on top of this mountain called Scaly Mountain, there were literally hundreds of thousands of books. And this is a student of Charles Olson's. I mean, he has everything Olson ever. I mean, it's just incredible. And I said, please show me something that you think I absolutely need to read.
Yep.
And he hands me this book called Asp of the Age by Merl Hyman, M-E-R-L-E, and then Hyman. She, how do I put this? He hands me the book, and he also hands me a magnifying glass. He says, you're going to need this. So she insisted that the publisher of this book publish the facsimile of her handwriting with yellow ink on white paper.
Wow. So not typed. She wanted her handwriting.
Yeah,
okay.
She insisted. And it's very difficult to read this book. But once you start reading it, you're like, wow, it's like a portal into a completely new dimension.
Right.
And I said to him at dinner that night, because I just ate that book up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And I said, tell me what this is. And he told me that he was going to publish her next book. It's a book of poems called Letters to Christopher. But he couldn't do it. He was the one author, besides me, of course, he couldn't finish my book only because he passed away. But it was in his many decades of publishing, it was the only author that he couldn't complete the publication because she was so volatile.
Yes.
She would call him up and scream and scream and scream and scream. And he said to his partner, Thomas Meyer, I'm going to fly up to Pittsburgh. That's where she lived. This is in the early 1970s. I'm going to fly up to Pittsburgh and work with her in person to finish this book because it's just bad. And he did. And I showed everybody a picture of the house last night. I found this picture online of the house. But the house has since been torn down, which I want to talk about that in a little bit because I'm curious about that.
Please.
The house is gone, but it took me a while to figure out that I was in the right location because I kept looking for this house.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally realized that it was torn down. And then I realized, and then it's also written about that it's torn down. But anyway, my point is, Jonathan Williams went to this house in the early 1970s to work with her, and she answered the door. And he said she looked like somebody's grandmother with a tidy hairdo and an apron and all these beautiful antiques in the house. And he followed her into the kitchen where she was chopping apples to make apple muffins. And in the middle of this chopping, she puts the knife down and she says, "They've returned." And he says, "Who's returning?" She's like, "Shut up." She just got back into screaming again. She went from being very nice and a good host to just tell him to shut up.
Yeah.
And then she followed her into the living room, and there's this one corner of the living room that was completely bare, except for a small table the size of Emily Dickinson's desk, which was 12 inches by 12 inches, a tiny little desk, and then an ink pot with a quill and paper. But above, she was directing all of her attention to the corner of the room above the desk and screaming this blood-curdling scream at these spirits that only she could see. And he tried to talk to her, and she just became like the Exorcist in the movie when Linda Blair, just screaming at him.
Yeah.
And he was terrified. He said it was the worst screaming he's ever heard. And then eventually she said, "Okay, I hear you. And she sits down to write. And he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Shut up, I'm writing." This is how she wrote her poems. And these spirits insisted that she use a quill. This is not the 1870s. It's the 1970s.
Right.
And ink on paper. And that book had to be, they were the ones that told her to publish her facsimile of her handwriting. Anyway, he just couldn't do this book. It was not possible.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds so challenging. One of the things I loved about your talk is it feels like you were giving us a constellation or a real lineage of occult writers, occult poets specifically, and placing yourself within this lineage. You know, these are your creative ancestors. You also have people that I would consider your proteges. I don't know if that's language you would use. But I love this idea of poetry as ancestor work. Do you think of it that way too?
Oh, yeah. We're on everybody's shoulders with this. I mean, I think about poets like Bernadette Mayer. Well, I don't really associate her with the occult, but do you know Bernadette Mayer's poems?
Yes, I do.
I mean, she is a giant. I just adore her. And
she passed away fairly recently.
She did. And it was, and you know, I went to St. Mark's Poetry Project in New York City for her memorial. I was invited to speak a little bit at it. And one of the things that I will always remember is this long table filled with dozens and dozens of chapbooks. Each one was a different collaboration she did with a different poet. She loved to collaborate.
Yes.
She loved community. And I sort of felt that last night in your conference. I mean, it seemed like a community.
Yes.
It wasn't like a conference I'd ever gone to before. People were talking to one another in a way that was very new for me for conference.
I'm so
atmosphere.
happy that you picked up on that. That's certainly the sort of cauldron that we try to cultivate. It's very loving. It's certainly academic, but there's also people who are practitioners and artists, and we like that cross-pollination. And yeah, I think it's so important. I think it's always important to find community, but especially in moments like this when it feels like the walls are closing in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you finding that too? How is community feeling as a poet right now?
Yeah, it's very, you know, we're in a strange place in America. I mean, we're now numb to the violence, and we had over 40,000 U.S. citizens shot and killed last year.
Yeah.
Many more thousands shot, but those are the ones who died.
Yes.
And 700 mass shootings. I mean, when I was a child in the 70s, there might be one a year or none.
Right.
And now there are more than there are years in the day, and I mean, I don't know what the solution is. I'm just saying the violence level is severe.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to do about it. Everybody keeps saying, what do you think we should do? I'm like, I think we need to be good to one another.
Yes.
That's about all I can think of right now because I don't know how to tackle something like that.
And do you feel like the poetry community is by and large good to one another, good to itself? I suppose it depends.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it's a cesspool.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are, and can we talk about that a second?
Please. We can talk about whatever you want, CA. I mean, I have questions here, but I just have to tell folks, when CA spoke yesterday, I really, and I hope this doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, but I wanted to sit at your feet. I wanted it to go on for 7 hours. So you talk about whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, that's nice of you. But, you know what we didn't talk about was that house being torn down.
Oh, yeah. Please.
I believe her spirits were real.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the thing is, the poems that she wrote were... I'm not taking away from her, but that's the thing. That's the spirit. That's what, I brought up Edgar Cayce last night.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know Edgar Cayce, he was a mystic, often called a Christian mystic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why they say that because he was constantly channeling about Atlantis and Lemuria and extraterrestrials. But anyway, that's what they call him. And if you go to the card catalog and look at his channeled documents under poetry or any art, those spirits are saying rather dismissive things. Like, look, just so you know, we're the ones doing it, not you.
Right.
And I think about that a lot because 95, and this is, like I said, my 50th anniversary, and I've known a lot of different writers and artists of all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a teenager, I had a few hundred peers in the community in Philadelphia. That's where I lived at the time. I live in Massachusetts now. But by the time we were in our late 20s, about half of everybody had already stopped.
Wow.
And now I'm at this age, I'm alone, almost entirely alone. And every time I've run into these people from the past, not once has anybody told me that they're glad they're not doing their artwork anymore.
That's right. That's right. Did you feel as if you told us the story about the house being torn down in completion, or should we get back
because
to that?
I digressed with this whole thing with Cayce.
I'm a very parenthetical, tangential person, so I will follow you wherever you go.
Oh, no.
Keep going. So this house was torn down.
It was torn down, and I think it had to do with that portal.
Yeah, the portal that she was. Do you think she opened it, or it was opened?
I wish that I got to meet this woman.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean, I don't even know what she looks like. There are no photographs of her. There's a photograph of the book cover. Oh, by the way, that book. Before I said it, the house being torn down, and it reminds me of Anton LaVey.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I was in San Francisco, maybe 20 years ago, my friend Kevin Killian took me to the house.
We should tell folks. So Anton LaVey, for those who don't know, wrote a book called The Satanic Bible. And I mean, was a real character. I know people think of Satanism as some dark, scary thing, but he was, how would you describe him? Kind of tongue-in-cheek and a hedonist, and it wasn't evil, right?
I think that it was, I think he was just trying to counter the Christian norms.
Yeah.
Is really what it was about.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was funny.
Exactly.
But he was serious about all of his conjuring demons and all that, I believe. And nobody wanted to buy that house. And they tore it down.
Oh, wow.
Nobody wanted to live in it. Now, I know it's different, what we're talking about, but I'm just fascinated by these houses where these people were experiencing demons, or that's what they said about his house, or the spirits that Merl Hyman was writing with, screaming at.
Yes. I want to talk about some of the spirits that you work with your poetry. And first, we should just kind of place people in context here. You've developed a method of writing called Somatic poetry rituals.
Yeah.
And this is parentheses, the word Soma, close parentheses,
Tick.
Poetry rituals. Thank you. So could you explain what somatic poetry rituals are? And then I have many follow-up questions.
Sure. Well, let me start with those parentheses.
Yes.
So I'm fascinated by the fact that the word soma lives inside the word somatic.
Yes.
And they come from two completely different places. The word Soma comes from the first book human beings ever wrote in India called the Vedic text, the Rig Veda.
Sure.
And it's peppered all over those texts. And the original definition of Soma, the oldest definition, is to press and be newly born. Because they were taking psychedelic plants and energizing plants, like, I don't know, salvia and wheatgrass, and juicing them together and drinking the juice. I believe that Soma isn't not just a noun, it's also, I use it as a verb as well, because it's also the seeking of the spirit. Because these people were using this for spiritual journey.
So this is an elixir, maybe some kind of psychedelic, and you believe that they were taking it in order to transcend the mundane.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary, in my opinion, incorrectly, they don't like hearing that when I'm in London, incorrectly defines this word as Indo-Persian. It's not. It's from India.
Okay.
But by the time, I mean, when India had ancient trade routes with Persia, ancient Persia, the people in England were still living in huts. There was these thriving civilizations down there. I think like the British Empire, when they arrived in India, could never fess up to that somehow.
Right.
So they just were like, well, it's really Indo-Persian. It's not. It's from India. It's from the first book ever written from India. But the Sufis started using it to do these ancient trade routes.
Yes.
But what I love is that word is inside and that's from India. And then the word somatic is Greek. And it means the body, the tissue, the nervous system, even the hollow parts. But what I love is that the word for the soul, or seeking the soul, is the larger part of the word for the body.
Yes. So how does that relate to poetry for you?
Well, I believe that I'm always triangulating with that. This body that I think I have, but then the body that of the world around me, and then the spiritual end of it.
Yes.
And so do you mind if I tell you why I started doing these rituals?
I would love to hear that.
I have to back up a little bit further to 1975.
Okay, and then I'm going to interject and ask you to also explain by example what one of the rituals might look like or be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll get there. Please, but keep going.
Well, my mother was in trouble with the law because she was a thief. And but she stole some very delicious, high-quality foods for us. She wasn't shoplifting cans of beans. She was shoplifting filet mignon and lobster tails.
She's no Jean Valjean here.
No, it was crazy. I was like, wow, this is delicious, Mom,
Yeah. A gourmet thief.
It's right. But it was not good for her. She got caught more than once. So she couldn't get work anymore. So she put me to work selling. It was actually in 1974 I started working for her. And I would sell flowers on the side of bouquets of carnations and roses on the side of the highway. And, this is the 1970s, so there are no electronic gadgets.
Sure.
So it turned me into an avid reader, which is a big deal from where I grew up. Nobody reads.
Where did you grow up?
Rural Pennsylvania. I'm actually from Topeka, Kansas originally. My father is McNeil, but my mother remarried and we moved to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And so that's why my last name is Conrad. But they're all factory workers. My family in Iowa and Kansas and Pennsylvania. And that has a lot to do with the story. Oh, I should talk more a little bit about reading books.
Yeah.
So every Friday after school, I would be out there till dusk. Saturday dawn to dusk, Sunday from dawn to like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. That's a lot of hours for a young person.
Yes.
And it's just in the middle of nowhere. There's a field, there's nowhere for me to go. No electronic gadgets, so I'm reading. Every Thursday, I would go to the library and get a stack of books for the weekend. And then in 1975, it was Easter Sunday. And Easter Sunday, because I remember that specifically because of that holiday is a very important holiday for selling flowers.
Sure.
I went to get my books the Thursday before. March 30th, by the way, was Easter Sunday in 1975. I looked it up. I didn't remember that.
Okay. I was very dazzled.
No. I Googled that. Because I'm like, when was Easter Sunday?
Yes.
So this year was the 50th year on Easter Sunday, March 30th. Anyway.
Wow.
But that particular Thursday, when I go to check out my books, the librarian had a copy of Emily Dickinson's poetry on display. And she said, "Do you like Emily Dickinson's poetry?" And I said, "I don't really think I know who that is." And I just put it in my pile to be polite. And Easter Sunday comes, and it's the last book left. I had no intention of reading it. And I began reading it, and I was hooked.
Wow.
And I read that. And it wasn't a big collection. It was a slender selected, like a Dover edition.
Yes.
And I read this over and over and over. And then that day began writing poems.
Wow.
As a call and response with 19th century Amherst, Massachusetts.
Wow.
So that's where that began.
Okay. We have to put a pin in Emily Dickinson, not literally, because listeners know that I have challenges with Emily Dickinson, and it sounds like you are here for many reasons, but one of which is to say, put some respect on Emily Dickinson's name. We can get back to her, though. So you develop these somatic poetry rituals, and to me, they seem as if these are things you are physically doing with your body in relation to writing. So it sounds to me like you're first going through some kind of gestures. Perhaps we'll call them casting spells. I don't know what language you prefer. And then is it after you do these rituals, you then write, or are they in tandem with each other? I would just love for listeners and viewers to have a bit more understanding of your process.
It is when you're inside the ritual, you're writing. It's exactly when it happens. But I'm thinking about the first one I did, which was in 2005. I made a new group of friends who were in an MFA creative writing program. And I was noticing that they were connected inside in a way that I wasn't. Like their writing lives and the lives they were leading were connected, that I wasn't. And it took me a little bit, not too long, maybe a week, to realize that's our background. I came from factory workers, and their parents were doctors, lawyers, engineers. And what this means is so when you're raised by factory workers, these are people that when they go to work, they become literal extensions of machines for 10 to 12 hours a day.
Right.
Because nobody's working 8 hours anymore. And what that means is in order to survive those jobs, they need to shut the present off. Because you would literally lose your mind if you were present for a metal punch machine for 12 hours.
It's so repetitive and physically taxing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they shut the present off and their brains go between the past and the future. And when you speak to them, they're either depressed about the past or anxious about the future. That's my experience. But there's no idea of the present, and it's because of these jobs. They don't know how to flip that switch on or back, if they ever did, because they were raised by factory workers. I knew I needed a new relationship with time. That's why I started doing these rituals. That's the reason I started. That's the impetus. So I did them because I wanted to anchor myself in the present. And the first ones I did, I found I like to go to Barnes & Noble. I don't buy books there, though. I'm not a fan of Barnes & Noble. Independent booksellers only, please. But I like to go there because I use it like a library. Their business section has a subcategory on marketing research that I consider anthropology of this capitalist kind of anthropology.
Okay.
They're studying our behavior, our physiology, our eyeballs to sell us things we don't need or want.
Right.
It's their favorite thing to do.
Yes.
But you find out all kinds of creepy things when you're reading this. And one of the things I was reading was prior to this, just maybe a month or so, I don't know, soon, not too soon before this crisis occurs where I have these new friends and I'm like, what's going on? And this article in this book was mentioning that as much as 80 to 90% of human interaction is nonverbal. And I just find that wild even to this day.
Yeah,
think about that.
Absolutely.
And so I thought, well, maybe I can use that somehow. And the first ritual I did was with I ate a single color food for a day for 7 days and would wear the color. So the first was the red. So the red poem, the first one I ever did, I found a red wig and a Beauty Academy dumpster near where I lived that was very long, down to my waist. And it was very straight. on one side and badly permed on the other,
Oh my goodness.
or frizzy. Something happened to
Yeah.
it, damage.
Yeah.
So when I thought, well, if I wear this red wig around the city while I'm writing and eating red food, I'll get a lot of nonverbal communication, which of course I did. Mostly people just trying to get away from me.
Sure.
But because it looked like this,
Yeah.
I'm frizzy on one side and iron
Asymmetrical.
flat.
Yes.
So, but the thing that's most exciting is at the end of that first day, I realized two things. The first was it worked. I was present. It might have been the most present I'd ever been while writing.
So, and just so I understand, you are wearing this outfit, you're eating this food, and you're writing while you're dressed up. Okay.
Yeah, I'd walk around the city and then sit down on benches and write. That's how I did the first one.
Okay.
I said, let's just do this. This is the ritual.
Yes.
The ritual is just sort of creating this place for the spirit world. It's sort of like, I didn't have any problems writing. It was just I didn't know why I was not right. I didn't have the connection that these other poets did. And then I realized it's our background. So I thought, well, let me make myself be present.
Understood.
And it worked. It worked. But the second thing I realized was that I would have never written that poem at any other time for any other reason. The ritual orchestrated the language for that poem.
Yes.
That poem would not exist without that ritual.
Yes.
And when I'm writing inside the ritual, it's not expository writing. I'm not talking about the ritual. There's some examples where it does not do, like I have this book called While Standing in Line for Death, where I had a boyfriend who was raped and murdered in Tennessee, and I did a ritual to overcome my grief of that. And so he does appear in those poems. But for the most part, you may not even know that the ritual and the poem would belong together.
Yes, yes. Oh, there's so many directions I want to go in. Can I first ask how you came to even devise that specific ritual? Was it just intuitive? Why red, for example?
Absolutely. Well, I think intuition is just, how many times have you heard people say, oh, I wished I'd listened to my intuition?
All the time.
Exactly. Pinky shake for them. May they listen to this and get past that.
Yes.
Because everybody, the thing is that means that they hear it.
Mm-hmm.
They're admitting that they heard it.
Yep.
And what they heard was a whisper.
Mm-hmm.
I think intuition really is paying attention to your spirits. That's what I think it is.
I love that so much. And I agree. I agree so deeply with that.
But the next thing you have to do, which almost somebody does, is you believe it, you listen, but then you have to actually act on it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So your spirits were somehow communicating something about this wig had sparkle for you.
I surrendered to them.
Yes.
I followed it.
Yes.
I had more surrendering to do, though. Do you mind if I tell you about that?
I would love to hear about that.
When I started to try to write that poem, like if you look at my poems prior to 2005, they're primarily on the left margin. And they're not like that at all now. So with that very first poem, the red poem, I was trying to put all those notes together to make the poem. And I literally thought that I had caught a flu virus. I was feeling like I was sick. But when I would walk away from it, it would recede.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, I would feel sick. And then the next time I came back, I just intuitively, because the spirits were saying you're not listening, started moving them off the left margin, and I would never felt sick again.
Mm-hmm.
But the next morning when I was waking up, I'm convinced it was not in the dream, but this voice came very clearly right through me that said, we've been trying to show you the way out of the violence of the line.
The violence of the line. Wow.
Because these are human, all these straight lines in the studio we're in, these are not natural.
Sure.
There's no, even if you see something in nature that looks straight, it's kind of not.
Right. That's right. Organic shapes undulate and they curve and they're imperfect. Yeah, that's so true.
I surrendered. I said, okay. And I never know what they're going to look like. And like my latest book, and they all stand on the bottom of the page like little creatures.
Yes. So those listening won't get the benefit of this, but if you're watching this on YouTube, this is CA's latest book, Listen to the Golden Boomerang Return. And I'm just going to randomly open to a page. So hopefully people can see this on the screen. It might be a little tricky, but they almost look to me like birds or flames or salamanders. Like there's something very organic about the shape of your poems. And you're saying that when you're writing them, you just kind of let the shape flow through you. You don't have a shape in mind, correct?
Well, here's the thing. When I'm writing in the ritual, it's raw notes, and it's all handwritten. One of the things that I hope people don't think I'm one of these older people now complaining about this, but I'm very sad about the fact that people that I meet now in public workshops who are in their very early 20s, that's the first generation they stopped teaching cursive writing to.
Right, right.
And when I write cursive on the chalkboard, they can't read it. It's hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest. My feeling is that cursive was invented so that we could write by the speed of our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
If you only know how to print, you can't. It's taken away from you.
Yes.
That's terrible.
So true.
And they don't even know how to type. They're not being taught to actually type.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can close my eyes and type because I learned how to type in high school.
Right.
Decades ago.
Yes.
But they're not teaching typing or cursive. And this means that so sometimes I have to allow them to just type with their thumbs on their phone. They can do that. That's the only way they can get speed.
Wow.
And I don't think that that's I really want people to be able to write with the letters with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
The process of writing with your body is somatic, that whole somatic process.
Yes.
You're letting all that energy come through you, listening to your spirits, and you're making those magical symbols, our alphabet that was created centuries ago by magicians, like our 0 to 9, like our numbers were.
Yes.
I mean, these glyphs, these hieroglyphs that we use to make, these letters and words and sentences, they're wonderful, and they come out of magic.
Absolutely.
Like the letter M. It's the 13th letter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the 13th letter for a reason. I believe if they hid it, it's the hidden pentacle.
Ooh.
And it's 13 because there are actually 13 moons a year, not 12.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And, most of the covens in ancient times, there was a woman for each moon. So there were 13 women in a coven.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take the letter M and put a circle around it, it's a pentacle.
Ah.
It's a 5-pointed star.
How beautiful.
It's magic.
Absolutely. I love that. So what other rituals came after this red ritual?
Oh,
like
goodness.
I know so many.
many.
but what's one that comes to mind? How did your process evolve? Because I imagine after that first ritual, you're like, this is potent, this is working. How did you follow that impulse then?
It really was. It was really. I was excited about it. Well, here's something. Paul Legault and Shamarla Cohen edited a book of not Emily Dickinson's poems, but English to English translations of her. Oh no, wait, that's a different book. I'm sorry. No, they were doing Shakespeare sonnets.
Okay.
And they said, we'd like you to make an English to English translation of Emily Dickinson Shakespeare sonnet. I said, I would love it. Because I never say no. I'm a Capricorn. We don't say no.
Yes.
And we work hard, and then everybody resents us for it. Whatever. I don't care. At
I
this
love
age.
Capricorns.
Pinky shade.
I really do. I'm like, please.
We're busy.
I love a type A witch, honestly. I'm like,
We wake up working.
yeah. And it's like,
Capricorns.
great, cast your spells, but also like show up on time, please. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, they sent me the sonnet as an attachment, and I didn't like it. I know you're not supposed to dislike Shakespeare sonnets, but I just don't like them. Some of them. Not all of them. But anyway, I didn't like the one they sent me. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I said, I know, I'll let this crystal do it. I got this crystal, I cleaned it up with sea salt overnight. And then the next day, I carried it around. So sonnet's 14 lines. So I said, I'm going to take 7 days. And I'm going to carry this crystal, and with my dominant hand, I'm right-handed, I will hold it, and I will whisper these 2 lines from the sonnet, sing them, scream them into this crystal, and then put it under my pillow and dream with that. And when I wake up, I put it in my left hand, the hand that I don't write with, so that I'm receptive, and it comes through my body. And then I begin writing. That's how I translate it. So I would wake up the next morning and then write those 2 lines, and then continue to carry the crystal around with the next 2 lines. I did that for a week, and I enjoyed that.
How fabulous. Let's talk about crystals. You're wearing such a beautiful crystal today around your neck. You gifted me a crystal when you walked in.
Emily Dickinson crystal.
I know. All right. Emily, I hear you. You want us to talk about you. I promise we'll get to you in a moment. But can you talk a little about your relationship to crystals and poetry?
Well, I never intended to collect crystals, but more than half everybody I knew died of AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
And the first friend who died of AIDS gave me a crystal. And then everybody thought that's what you're supposed to do with me. So I have all these crystals from all these dead friends, and I'm never going to give them up.
Sure.
And I'm not going to be buried, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to happen to them after I go. They won't go into the grave. You know, I don't know what's going to happen to them. But, they were always here. So were we, right? Our little cells.
Mm-hmm.
We just are doing what we're doing now in this form. But it was a big deal. And, oh, God. So there's this very weird story about the crystals that I found out about. I don't know if you want to hear. It involves
Do I
Mount
want to hear a
Shasta.
weird story about crystals? Yes.
I'm addicted to Mount Shasta in Northern California.
Okay.
It's
never
a volcano.
been.
Oh my Lord. It is special. I was talking to years ago to somebody about it, and I said, I don't know. It's just like, everybody's like, is it wilder than San Francisco? I said, 10 times more wilder, I believe. I feel like somebody picked up America by Maine and shook it, and everything loose wound up in Mount Shasta, And I just love going there. And there's never a dull moment. And you go to the Berryville Food Co-op. That's sort of the hub for me for meeting people. But, the thing is, what I loved, I met this woman there. I was wearing this Lemurian quartz. I did not know it was a Lemurian quartz. I bought this crystal. It's stick, stone, and bone.
Oh, sure.
And
in the West Village.
In the West
here
Village
in New
on
York.
Christopher Street.
Sure.
Used to be 111. I don't know what, 110 now. They moved slightly.
Yep.
Like one door down or something. But at the time, it was owned by these two women, and it was just lovely. And they were just they're like, that's speaking to you. I was like, it's speaking to me. Because I was in there a lot.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay. And then my friend Jody made a holder for it so I could wear it as a necklace.
Yes.
But I brought it home to Philadelphia, and I had this crystal next to my bed. And I had a dream that night that I was in Mount Shasta. And I met 3 people in the dream. One of them I gave Reiki to. Adelia Florenza is my Reiki teacher. She's a Reiki master in Asheville, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a Reiki practitioner. And then the other 2 people were just wild. It was the strangest experience. And I woke up from the dream and I said, well, I was about to do a West Coast book tour. This is from my book, A Beautiful Marsupial Afternoon, which is my first book of the rituals.
Yes.
With that red poem in it.
Oh, wonderful.
With the wig, the red wig. So I said, well, I'm going to be reading in Portland, Oregon. And then a couple days later with Eileen Miles in San Francisco. So I thought, well, I've got this extra day. I can go to Mount Shasta. It's right between these 2 cities, which made me happy because I love this mountain, this volcano. It's got a glacier that is just gorgeous. But I go there. Oh, before I get there, I leave Eugene, Oregon, and I pitch up a hitchhiker, which is not something I normally do, but he had his arm in a sling.
Okay.
And I was giving him Reiki while I was driving.
Oh.
And then when he got out at Weeds, there's this town called Weeds at the base of the volcano. They made a TV show about Weeds, that show. Anyway, as he's walking away, I thought, oh, that's one of the people in the dream. Because I was giving Reiki to somebody in the dream.
Wow.
And when I got up to, I timed it so I could watch the sunset up there in the glacier. And I go into this coffee shop, and there's a woman who sees me from across. She kind of looked like the mother from the movie, that De Palma film, Carrie.
Oh, of course.
Pepe Lori. What's her name? Pepe Lori?
It's flying out of my head.
Me too. Sorry. Oh, I hope she doesn't hear this. I like Pepper. Is it Pepper Lori? Anyway, I'm mangling her name. I like her a lot. But anyway, she sees me, and she's sort of a hippie version of this character. She's got seashells in her hair, and she walks directly toward me, and she's like, that's a Lemurian quartz.
Oh, wow.
It's much bigger than the one I'm wearing.
Oh, I see.
And I said, I was told it was a rainbow quartz. And she said, listen, this is Mount Shasta. This is not kindergarten. And I said, well, all right. She's like, no, it's not all right. And then she starts talking to me, and I don't understand what she's saying, but she's being belligerent. She's calling me an idiot and things like that. But I was like, you know what? She's pretty mean, but I'm curious.
Okay.
And she says, look, idiot, you've got a Lemurian quartz. Hold on to it with your left hand. As soon as I did that, I could understand everything she was telling me.
Huh.
And she was telling me that there were these 3 timelines on the volcano. One of them was a future. that I was forbidden to know, particularly me, and a present time. And then, of course, this ancient Lemuria, which was, I think she said like 72,000 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
And she said, we knew one another in ancient Lemuria. And I said, well, that's nice. She's like, no, there was nothing nice about it. You were one of the problems. You were one of these. She said, I bet you have lots of crystals, don't you? I said, as a matter of fact, I do. She said, yeah, of course you do. You were murdering people in Lemuria, and you would shove a crystal up their ass to keep their ghost from haunting you, and you'd push them off a cliff.
What?
Yes. And then, that's pretty wild, you know. And then there was a lot more to the story than that she was telling me.
Okay.
But I just kept saying, well, you know, I'm nicer now. I'm vegan. I've not killed anybody. I'm not intending to kill anybody.
You haven't shoved any crystals up
No.
anyone's asses? Maybe that's a personal question. None of my business.
But you know, I said, should I feel bad about something that happened 72,000 years ago? Isn't there enough to worry about in this lifetime?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And, you know, Madame Blavatsky said that we would get this wrong, this idea of karma and reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that we come back to do what was done to us, not what we did.
Right.
So it's all messed up. Like John Lennon's song Instant Karma. It's a nice song, but it's part of the problem. It's not a punishment. It's not sin. You know,
Right,
it's different.
Right.
Anyway, I said, well, I don't know. Maybe we can talk another time. She's like, I don't ever want to speak to you again. I've been waiting to meet you. And then she walked away from me. I was like, wow. So that evening, I went back to my little hotel room, and I called up a friend of mine in Asheville, North Carolina, who's a channeler.
Okay.
And she said, did you check your email? This is somebody I've known since we were in our early 20s.
Okay.
In Philadelphia. She did a channel, and it turns out it was the same time I was in that coffee shop.
Wow.
And she's in Asheville. I'm in Northern California. We couldn't be further away from one another.
Mm-hmm.
And in this channel, she claims that she and I were in ancient Lemuria.
She meaning this person you met on the mountain?
No, my friend.
Oh, I see.
The channeler friend.
Okay.
The channeler friend and I were in Lemuria.
And Lemuria, is that like Atlantis? This is some...
It's a sister culture off the coast. It's the Japanese have legends called Mu, M-U, the lost legend of Mu.
Of course. I have heard of this. Okay.
So Lemuria had a high technology like Atlantis, but it was also destroyed.
I see.
Like Atlantis was destroyed.
Okay.
Edgar Casey talks about, and Madame Blavatsky both talk about.
I've heard of this and I forgot. So thank you for
all right.
reminding me. So your channel friend says we were both in Lemuria
We were both
together.
in Lemuria, and she had an enemy that was trying to kill her. And I said, don't worry, I'll protect you. And I killed her enemy by pushing him off a cliff.
Did you shove the crystal
Well,
up
I
his
asked her
ass?
about, she didn't see any crystals going up anybody's ass.
But I guess she wouldn't. Yeah.
She did not see that.
Wow.
So there was verification that I did do that.
Oh my goodness.
So here's where it goes a little bit further. I've had to think about this for years now, a decade or more. When did that book come out? 2011. Oh, that's a while ago.
Almost 15 years
Yeah,
now.
15 years. And well, I'll be dead in no time. I mean, it's just, you know, it's like this it's just like time just flies by, you know. And it's good to appreciate every day and remind yourself that, you know, there is death ahead, you know.
Of course.
It's important.
Of course.
But, gosh, I just derailed myself. What was I about to say?
I don't know, but I have so many questions
Okay.
for you just off the back of this story so far.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Oh, please. Okay.
I believe that all these crystals my friends gave me, my dead friends, this is really difficult to say, but I think they might be the people I killed in ancient Lemuria.
Oh, my goodness.
Because they all died young, just like, you know, they died before they were supposed to, and they gave me these crystals. Like they were giving me back the crystals that I shoved up their ass when I killed them. I hope it's not true, but it's just like, why am I getting all these crystals from these people dying young in this lifetime?
And do you write with the crystals, though?
Well, my apartment is just filled with them. They're everywhere. So yeah, you can't. And it's only 180 square feet, my apartment. So
Oh, wow.
it's a good number. And 180, 118. You know,
Absolutely.
18 is a powerful number.
Oh, yeah. I was raised Jewish, so chai,
yeah.
life. I mean,
right.
that's the number of life.
And doubling that is 36, double life.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I want to focus us back on poetry and
Yes,
writing.
sorry.
No.
Let's
Are
do
you
poetry.
kidding me? I live for these stories. But what I want to know, because I know people watching and listening are going to be curious how they can use magic in their own writing processes. So when you're teaching students how to do this, what advice do you impart, or are you literally doing ritual with them? How can people learn from your methodologies? Because it seems so personal and so specific and intuitive how you make your own magic.
Well, thank you. The workshops are everything. I didn't expect them to be such a big deal, but I started teaching them in 2005, public ones, and I kept meeting people who were stuck.
And are these your somatic poetry ritual workshops? Okay.
We would build the rituals together. What I'd like to do is build like maybe a dozen ritual stations we build together, and then we spend an hour just moving between these stations while writing. And the collaborative effort of it, the experiential collaboration, is part of that energy that we are emanating and receiving. This whole, like, Nikola Tesla's idea of discovering the universe through energy, vibration, and frequency.
Yes, exactly.
It's constantly on the road, these three things.
Yes. And so are your students developing their own rituals, or are they following rituals that you have sort of developed for them?
Well, in the workshop, I'm getting them used to it. So these are things that I've developed, but I have them build some of them with me. And I like to go to meet people in public parks in the middle of the country, and we build rituals. That's the good thing about these parks. They're free.
Yes.
And you can just, hang out there and not spend any money if you don't have money, and build a ritual, and we write together and do things together. But I keep trying to add new things. Like the thing I'm developing right now for a future workshop is a rope. I'm trying to find a long rope that might possibly have copper in it, because copper is conductive, a very conductive metal. I want it to be long enough so that all the participants in the workshop can wind it around their arm they write with, and then we're all connected. So when you're writing, everybody's being tugged. And the copper is making because we're mostly water, and nothing absorbs electrical current like water.
Yes.
And if we're using copper, we could probably do it without the copper, but I would really prefer having copper.
Because it'll help conduct the energy a little bit more fluidly, you think?
When I taught for Peter Gizzi for a year, I brought my entire crystal grid. By the way, at the time that I taught for him, I finally had my first apartment in 10 years. I lived in my car for a decade.
Oh, wow.
After the ritual I did to cure my depression after my boyfriend Earth's rape and murder, I realized I had to leave Philadelphia because it's too small of a city. I knew lots of people who died in New York as well, Boston, Baltimore, but Philly is where I live. So that's where the majority of the people I knew who died. And it's just too small. Like every street I would walk in, I knew sometimes more than one person who died there.
Yeah.
I got to get out of here.
Being haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'm going to live on the road for a year. I sold everything, and it turned into a decade because I didn't want to live anywhere.
Wow.
But now I have a home in Western Massachusetts, pretty close to Emily Dickinson's house, by the way.
Okay, Emily, fine. We'll talk about you. Okay, and I do want to circle back to your ritual when you were grieving. So let's help each other remember that, hopefully. Emily Dickinson, and I said this to you, you so kindly gifted me with a crystal that you buried under one of the trees that is still on her property.
Yes, she planted the large trees in her yard, on her property. She planted by hand.
Yes.
They're silent giants. They're just there. And they are the last living beings on this planet who knew her when she was alive. Because we human beings are just too weak.
Yes.
There's nobody. I'm like, when I was a child in the 60s and 70s, I knew lots of people from the 19th century. And they're all gone now. There's nobody left from the 19th century.
Right.
And those of us from the 20th century, we're going to be, there's so many people now who were only born in this, what I mean?
Of course.
So it's just the way it is.
Yes.
And it's just all constructs of time we invent anyway, but it's still interesting.
Absolutely. Anyway, those listeners and viewers who watched or listened to the Word Witch episode, this is a writer named Kate Ballou. She's a poet and a ritualist. She and I were talking about how Emily Dickinson is a challenge for me. And I said that her poetry just never quite resonated with me. And I did say this is a shortcoming of mine. I know I'm probably wrong. People love her. She's very witchy. There's so many reasons I feel like I should love her. For whatever the reason, I have found her poetry to be I don't know if impenetrable is the right word. It just hasn't connected with me. And I have felt, I don't know, kind of guilty about it, but also kind of cheeky about it. The way you were talking about, like, some Shakespeare just doesn't do it for you. That's sort of how I was feeling about some of her work.
I think you should just roll with it. It's okay.
No, I think that here you are gifting me with a crystal from her property, bringing her up like 6 times in this conversation. I think it's pretty clear that she's looking for some attention and love from me. Can you tell me why you love Emily Dickinson?
She's singular. This is somebody who had read everything. Centuries of poetry came to her doorstep. She read it all, rejected it all to make something nobody had ever done before. That's why she's sort of the forerunner to the poetry that we now have in this country. Mm-hmm. She literally just wrote the way she felt like writing. She made it all up. And there were always these men trying to fuck around with her poems, and then she just stopped showing them to them. And then, the thing is, I do want to bring this up. One of the things, she was a dyke. She was a lesbian. Mm-hmm. We know for a fact this is true. There's a film called Wild Nights with Emily. Molly Shannon plays Emily Dickinson. From
I love
Saturday Night Live.
I love Molly Shannon.
She's brilliant.
Yes.
And the thing is, the director talked a lot about this in an interview. So there's this poet named Billy Collins. People like him, but I don't. The reason I don't like him is because he's a homophobe and a misogynist. He wrote a poem. He literally admitted it on Terry Gross's Fresh Air, where she says, "Oh, Billy, I just was so angry listening to this podcast, radio show, really, right? And why is this is so controversial?" He wrote a poem called. He admitted on that show that he wrote this poem because there were all these people questioning whether she was gay or not.
Okay.
And his poem is called Undressing Emily Dickinson. He basically rapes her in the poem. He takes her clothing off her, and she doesn't even speak in the poem. She's just this like grunting force that he's screwing. And it made me so angry that he admitted it finally years later on this show. Like, he kept sort of denying that was why he wrote it. We now know it's true. And he became the Poet Laureate of the United States after he wrote that poem. He defiles her. And I'm just going to say it. He's never written a poem even close to his poems. Emily Dickinson's poems. But my point is, we know for a fact that she was a lesbian because the letters that are in question, these love letters, the name was erased. There's new technology, and they used infrared technology to go deep, deep, deep into the fibers of the paper, and they lifted out Susan. The name Susan is on every document. Susan is the sister-in-law to Emily Dickinson, married to her brother who lived next door, and they had sex all the time, and they were in love, and maybe that even she married the brother just to be with Emily. But my point is, we can't deny it any longer.
And what about her writing? Like, does it feel magical to you, her poetry?
Oh yeah, I mean, she's witchy all over it. There's all these things about. Well, I mean, my mother used to be like, "Why do you read her poetry? She's just like death and bees and clover."
You're like, sign me up.
No, there's so many magical things that I find in it.
Yes.
The way she's observing the world is beautiful. And also, this is a human being who, think of that, a woman in the 19th century with the tenacity to tell the entire town when they changed their religious denomination, "Well, I'm not joining you."
I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, that takes courage.
Oh,
it takes courage to, like, read all the poetry and say, because most people are just like, "Well, this is what I should do." And she's like, I don't want to do any of that.
Okay.
She was amazing.
All right. Respect for Emily Dickinson. I would love to invite you to read some of your poetry.
Okay.
And I have no idea what time it is. We're like transcending space and time here. We just have a few minutes.
Okay.
CA, would you honor us by please reading one of your poems? I highlighted a few. I trust you to just pick from one of these.
I like the one you chose in the new book.
Okay, please do. So this is from CA's newest book, Listen to the Golden Boomerang Return. It is so exquisite.
Thank you.
And I'll just open that right up for you. It was that one that I chose, but honestly, I trust you to do whatever you want.
Oh, is that from that bookstore, McNally Jackson?
It is, yes.
I love McNally Jackson. That's
Same.
a bookstore in New York City to support. McNally. There are several locations now.
Agree.
Seattle, Barnes & Noble. So the thing is, these poems were written with, so the book prior to this was a book written with extinct animal sounds. This is creatures that are thriving in the Anthropocene. Especially, I spent almost all of COVID lockdown in Seattle feeding crows. And this crows, there's pictures in the back. Let me just quickly show the camera.
Yes.
Of the crows.
Yep.
There's the crow, and there's the picture of the gifts the crow started to bring me in exchange for the food I was feeding. And the crow allowed me to stroke their beak. That middle piece is a piece of gold foil. To be honest with you, I didn't think that this was really meant for me at the time. Oh my God, I just took the bookmark out. But I know where it is because I know the shapes.
No problem.
Here it is.
Perfect.
I convinced my publisher. Well, I asked them, I said, can I do this book without page numbers? And they said, sure, but now, I have no page numbers.
Well, also the shapes look a little like crows too.
Oh, I'm glad you think that.
Or feathers. Yeah.
So this is the one I'm going to read.
Okay.
The poet Major Jackson honored me by reading this on his podcast. It was very nice.
Wow.
It was sexy how you politely declined the larger halo. Ocean waves travel thousands of miles, never revealing the source of their power. Enough poems have been written wasted on human cruelty. We dig hard to find the other world, press pen with everything in us, write gate to open 9 pages at once. Stay open. Ignore how much you want to close. I love you. It must be said I love you. Can you hear it arriving after countless miles? Hold my hand as we feel relief with the crashing waves. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. And see, I just love how you read. How did you come to develop your voice?
Well, the center of my poetry community as a teenager in Philadelphia was Etheridge Knight, Sonia Sanchez, Lamont Steptoe.
Powerful.
They're powerhouses, and you wouldn't dare get on that stage reading monotone. You would have things thrown at you. And so I didn't have money for voice lessons, but I went to the library and sort of figured out my range. Mm-hmm. And then I started to score my poems so I knew how to read them.
Yeah, there's something so, they're invocations, aren't they? It really feels like not only are you writing with the spirits, but you are speaking with the spirits, or the spirits are speaking through you when you read. And it is such a pleasure to witness. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And CA, in our last moments together, do you have any final thoughts, any parting words?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
I think that we need to understand that creativity is, I know people are very stressed out, but I feel like everybody needs to be creative right now. Creativity is for survivors. Creativity is for, you need creativity to figure the things out. Don't just follow people. Creativity is for people to figure things out on their own. And always remember, Albert Einstein said, the imagination is more important than knowledge. Anybody can gain knowledge. What are you going to do with it? Mm-hmm. You need the imagination to know what to do with it.
Absolutely. Well, I am in awe of your imagination. Thank you so much for sharing it with me and with all of us.
For the imagination.
For the imagination.
And this wonderful podcast. And thank you for having me. And thank you for having me to the brilliant conference, the Occult Humanities Conference.
It was the deepest honor. And I hope this is the first of many such conversations. CA, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, everybody.